Hello guys, today I'd like to share with you one of my favorite pastries called Gata. Gata pastries are irresistibly nice and unbelievably easy to make. They really are a tea time pastries. Now, the ingredients are pretty much what you have in your fridge, I'm sure. Please note that all the ingredients for this recipe must be cold, and of course I will leave the exact amount in the description box below. So let's get started. First off, we need to crumble the butter with the flour. I'm going to be using processor because it's quite warm in the room now and I think my butter is going to melt away in this temperature. But you can of course crumble the ingredients by hand or even use grater. Once our flour and butter is mixed, set it aside and let's prep the batter. Now into the bowl, add in the yogurt and drop in the sugar. For this pastry, I use only 2 full tablespoons of vanilla sugar, and that's all the sugar I use. These pastries are not too sweet, just enough to have the idea of sweet, I mean the pastry. But of course, if you like it sweet, you could increase the sugar. Then add half a teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda works great with dairy products. And then crack a medium egg into it and give it a nice mix with a fork. You will notice that the batter will foam up and kind of grow. It's okay, that's a normal reaction of baking soda with the yogurt. And by the way, of course, you noticed that I added pinch of salt. Okay, the batter is ready, and now let's mix everything we have so far. This is what the flour and butter mix looks like. I make a little pit in the center and add the batter. First, I mix them with a fork, and then I go ahead and use my hand. If I remember it correctly, we got this recipe from an Armenian neighbor of ours. I was born in the Soviet Union, Soviet Uzbekistan, and we had many nationalities living in Uzbekistan back in the days. Now, this dough doesn't need to be kneaded, it's enough to bring it together. But if your dough is too sticky that you can't get it off your fingers, you could use some flour, just enough to get the dough off your hands, but try not to stuff the dough with the flour. Okay, my dough is brought together. I cut them into 2 parts. I will be making pastries with 2 different fillings. So I wrap them in the kitchen plastic and cool them in the fridge for a few hours. Now, if you don't have a lot of time, you could freeze the dough for 30 minutes and they are good to work with. The idea is that the butter will cool down and solidify the dough, and of course, it's much easier to work with that dough. Oh, my camera would seem shaky because my tripod is on the same working surface. Apologies for this. Okay, my dough has rested just under 3 hours in the fridge, and now I roll it into half a centimeter thin sheet. Thin or thick? I use a parchment paper to roll my pastry because I'm trying to avoid flour. I mean, not to dust the working surface. Try to roll it into a square or rectangular sheet. This pastry of mine is going to be with a walnut filling. Now, I have a handful of walnuts mixed with 1 tablespoon of vanilla sugar. I dried the nuts for 10 minutes in 150-degree oven before crushing them. Now, you could apply soft butter on the dough before the filling, but I like it even without. Evenly spread the filling on the roll and then roll it. Secure the edges. I am going to be cutting my pastries with a fancy knife. Just dust your knife every now and then with the flour to avoid sticking. My pastries are done. When placing them on a tray, do give them a space because they are going to grow. Now, egg wash is optional. I like to dust my pastries with sugar powder when they are done. If you'll also be dusting yours with sugar powder, then you can skip this part. And I'm just going to be drawing some prints on my pastries. Again, this is totally optional. Bake them at the preheated 280 Celsius degree oven for 20-25 minutes or till golden brown. And look at these pastries. Aren't they gorgeous? Well baked inside out. I can't tell you how my kitchen smells right now. Remember all the sugar I used is a vanilla sugar? I think it's just the right moment to share with you of my homemade vanilla sugar. I keep a real vanilla stick in my sugar bottle, and that's how I have my homemade vanilla sugar. I'm just going to dust my pastries with vanilla sugar powder. This is totally optional, as I had said, but I didn't use a lot of sugar in my pastry dough, so I think and I hope that I'm not overdoing it. So that's the Gata pastry from me, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, try it out yourself, and let me know in the comment box below how it went. And do subscribe to my channel not to lose this recipe. You'll also find many other simple and some traditional recipes on my channel. Until then, thanks for watching and see you in my next videos.